this? It's me, Chesley. I got to get up finally. Man, I've been ready to go. Well, you been ready to go? What's been going on? Oh, I've been thinking about this little story and getting to see all the kids. We're so glad we get to be here for all of the kids and adults, too. Oh, I know, that's right. Is Pastor Toma listening? Well, Pastor Toma may be listening, but he's been sick. He's got that stuff called that COVID stuff. Yes, that's right. He's got that stuff called COVID-19 that we're praying for him. You better believe we're praying for him. I wish I could, that I'm just a wooden kid. I know you're just a wooden kid, but you know what, Chesley? Working together, we can tell others about that our pastor is sick, but he's doing okay. And not if he's sick. Well, Chesley, I know he's not well like he wants to be, but he has his wife there, and she's taking care of him. You know what? She's treating him like a little kid. Well, she probably is treating him like a little kid, because when men are sick, they're like little kids. You are right about that. When men are sick, they're like little kids. I think they're worse than a baby. Oh, well, where did you get that information? Oh, I heard women talk. Oh, you've heard women talk about it. Okay. Well, Chesley, it is something we do care about. And, you know, he likes to joke. I know Pastor Toma likes to joke. But right now he's sick, so let's don't joke. But Chesley, we are praying for him. We're praying for his wife. And she cooked him some potato soup. Yes, she did. She cooked him some potato soup today, and she's taking real good care of him. And we need to pray for her. Yes, we do. We need to pray for Sister Toma, that the Lord will help her and keep her. And so she doesn't get that junk. He dare not give it to her. I know Pastor Toma won't give that to his wife. You know, there's nothing he can really do about it. But I think he's being a good kid. Yes, he is. He's been very good. And I'm sure he's taking his medicine, and he's staying in bed. But Chesley, let's be thankful today for the privilege we have to be here. And we get to tell this story. And this is a really good one. And, you know what is the name of it? It's Give Me My Mountain. Give Me My Mountain. Oh, this man, I tell you what, Caleb. Oh, he was a mighty man of God. He just set his sight on something, and he didn't quit till he got there. That's right. He didn't quit till he got there. But Chesley, did we forget something? Oh, I think we didn't sing. We didn't sing the theme song. Oh, this gospel train is chugging up the track, it's chugging up the track. This gospel train is chugging up the track, chugging to the glory land. Yes, it is, Chesley. Gonna see Jesus, yes, yes, you are. Gonna see Jesus, yes, you are, yes, you are. And who can go, Chesley? Well, get on board this gospel train. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Get on board this gospel train. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Just ask Jesus to come into your life. You want to live for him. And Chesley, it's a great life living for Jesus. It's interesting. It's very interesting. We never know things that are going to happen. And Chesley, we know that God has a plan for every one of us. Even each one, even the thousands and millions and billions. God has a plan for the life of every person born, Chesley. Yes, there are billions of people on the earth today. How can he keep up? How does he keep up? He's God. He never has to worry. We cannot even comprehend, realize how great God is. Because we got good at forgetting. That's right, we get good at forgetting. We can't remember like he can. He never forgets. He loves us and cares for us. Just we have his word, and we have found his word to be true. So he doesn't tell a bunch of lies. He does not tell lies. Now, Chesley, in our story we're going to tell today, Give Me My Mountain. It's about Caleb. It is about this man named Caleb. And he loved the Lord. He was faithful, and the children of Israel, God was bringing them out of the bondage of Egypt, where it's very hard and sad there. And they had to do slave work. They were like slaves. They had to work very hard. In fact, entirely way too hard. They were disrespected and hated. But you know what? God had a plan for them. And he was going to get them out of that place. And they was going to go to, what was he called? Canaan's land. Canaan's land. And that was a place where all the fruits and vegetables grew. It was a wonderful place. And that's where God said he had for them to go. They just had to be faithful. And is it hard to be faithful? Well, Chesley, they were going to encounter some really hard things. But I don't know why is that, because they're God's people. They were God's people. But did you know, old Pharaoh there in Egypt, He liked having those slaves there doing the work for him and all of his people. And so he wasn't going to let him go. He said he wasn't going to let him go. But God showed himself strong and through many miracles, and they'd call on their various gods. They didn't do any good. I know, but they trusted in him. They thought the gods made of wood and stone and metal, and they thought that they could hear and answer prayer, but they didn't. And they saw how God proved by many miracles that he did. And what happened to the children of Israel? God kept them safe. They were putting their trust in God as Moses. The Lord had chosen Moses to come and lead the people out. And then as time went along, we know how Joshua and Caleb, there were people that were really helpful. They were leaders. And so here they are now, Chesley. There was a time they were supposed to go over into the Canaan's land. But you had so many of the children of Israel there, they were cowards. What do you mean they was cowards? God had a plan for it. It was going to be beautiful land. Oh, they said, we just don't know about going. We've never seen this place before. We don't know what it's like. And so they were scared. So what Moses going to do? Is he going to send a drone? Well, Chesley, they didn't have drones. And what did they have? Well, he had those people. He said, the people said, well, we just don't even want to go until we know what it's really like. We would like to know. Oh, didn't they have a map? No, Chesley, they didn't have a map. This was way back in Bible times. So what he did, he said, well, I'll tell you what. Since they didn't want to just trust God, he said, look what God's done for us. And what did God do? Well, God would, he would have a cloud go before them. If they were supposed to travel, well, the cloud would move, and it was night. There would be a cloud of fire like fire, and so they would travel. It was provided light for them. It was a miracle. It was a miracle. That's right. And when they were supposed to stop, when the cloud stopped, they stopped. And if they were to travel, if it was nighttime, and there'd be this pillar of fire up there, and it was the light for them. So God showed wonderful miracles. Do you know what word had gone ahead of them? And so how did it travel? Chesley, word just traveled from person. People would be there, and they would know of these miracles. They would hear about them. So word had spread. Oh, those people down there, the children of Israel, their God is mighty. And so did they trust in him? They didn't know who this God was. They didn't understand it. But they did know this. They was afraid. And I think, you know what I think was happening? What do you think was happening? I think they were scared for those people to come. That's right. They really were scared for those people to come. The children of Israel, all except Moses, Joshua, and Caleb, they put their complete trust in God. They were ready to go. But the people were afraid. And they didn't understand that God had made sure that word had gone ahead. And those people were scared of them. Those people were scared of them. They were not going to hurt them. They were scared of them. They were dreading it. And they hoped they didn't come. That's it. They hoped they didn't come. Said, no telling what might happen. This God there is so mighty and powerful. He does all these things. Well, so Joshua and Caleb, they was leaders of their tribes, and there was 12 tribes of Israel, and there was a leader from each one. And they got to go over there and see it, and then you know what happened? You know what happened? Well, what was it? They decided to stay. No, Chesley, they didn't decide to stay. They had to go back. But you know what they had to do? They had to bring back like fruits and vegetables and show this is how great this place is. And they had to come back with a report. They had to bring a report. That's right. Oh, they was there 40 days. And so they had a big load of stuff. They did. No telling how many things they had. They had seen so many things. And one thing they saw was that how tall the people were. No, well, that's no big deal. God's bigger than that. That's right. God was bigger than that. God had this land for them. He was giving it to them. He was preparing them for it. Oh, but you know what? The 10 of the spies, they got scared. Well, on the way back, all they got to thinking about was how big. Oh, those guys are giants who were scared of them. Let's go home. They forgot about how great God was. And all they could think about was those giants. Instead of, but our God is greater. And that's what Joshua and Caleb, I think they was talking about the greatness of God. And they was thinking about what they was going to do there. Oh, they was thinking how wonderful it was of God to them to have this place for them that they could go and live. Oh, they was excited, and they saw the crops, all of the produce, how wonderful it was. But when they got back, They had their report. They was ready to give. Each one needed to give their report. And here Joshua and Caleb, they is already. But you know what? I kind of think those other 10 started first. Oh, they were telling. Well, first, they know they did. You had to see this. It was just show and tell. Look at this fruit. Well, the people had to see all those fruits and vegetables. And it was huge, and it was wonderful, and they tasted really yummy. I think it did. It tasted so yummy. This is just great. And Joshua and Caleb, probably they were just like bubbling over. See how great it is and how this is the right place for us. God is giving this to us. God's going to help us. And then those other 10, they said, wait just a minute. Now that's true. This is really good. I'll admit it's the best that we've ever tasted. But I want to tell you something about those people there. The other people. God knows them. God knew about them all before he ever promised them the land. God's not afraid of those people. What about these 10 guys? Well, those 10 guys, what they said was, well, all of that's true, how good that is, but you can't believe how tall those people are there. Why, those people are giants. Why, they're almost as tall as buildings. Oh, Eddie's so crazy. Where did they get that crazy idea? Well, Chesley, they told him. They said, those people are so tall, we look like little grasshoppers. So that they thought they had to be on the tallest buildings to look like that. That's right, like a skyscraper. It didn't make any sense. But they just kept, the more they talked about it, it's kind of like the fish story. Those giants got taller. That's right. It's kind of like our fish story. The giants just got taller. They go, oh, they were so huge that you can't imagine. We don't have a chance. But you know what Joshua and Caleb said? No, God can help us. Remember what he's done for us, the miracles. Oh, God had supplied water. He had supplied all their food. He had kept, and their shoes, all their clothes. It was wonderful. God, he just took care of them all along the way. But you know what? All those 10 spies, they said, we are afraid to go. We don't want to take our families there and them to be destroyed. They had no faith. But you know what? God heard all of those things. God was hearing. He was hearing the things that was said. And he told Moses, he said, you know what? He said, they're not going to be able to go. He said, it's going to be Joshua and Caleb are going to get to go. And you're going to be wandering around in this wilderness for 40 years till these people have all died that are rebellious and they don't believe me. No, they didn't believe God and he didn't like it. That's right. It was a shameful thing because if they don't have faith, they'll probably teach their children to be afraid. And God was very disturbed, very heartbroken. He had a great land for them. You know what? They wandered around that wilderness. What did Joshua and Caleb? Did they get to go into Canaan? Joshua and Caleb, here they were. They were going around the wilderness, but they weren't just wandering around like they didn't know what was going on. They were just following God, and God was blessing them and keeping them all along the way. And you know what I think they was doing? What do you think they was doing? I think they was making plans. I think they were making plans too because they believed God. They said, I believe God. I trust God. And you know what Brother Caleb had in mind? He had seen this great big tower. It was it was like a castle, a fortress. It's very strong. Who lived in it? Well, there been this mighty king, and he was one of those giants that lived there. And the people had said, oh, we can't go. He said, God is great. He can help us. And he knew that was like what we called a stronghold. It was the meanest of them all. Yes, it was probably the strongest. It would have been the hardest to have overtaken. But he said, our God can help us. You know what he did? He set his sights on that. He said, I believe God. And he said, when they parcel out this land, once we do get there, I'm going to ask for Hebron. That's what I want. He's going to be maybe an old man. He might be an old man, but he said God's faithful. And all these years went by, and finally, Chesley, Moses had died, and now Joshua was a new leader. And here they had all those people that had died that didn't believe God. And now they got to this place again to go into Canaan's land. It came the time where they began to parcel out the land. All right, they said, okay, for this tribe, each tribe, this is your plot now. Each family choose a place out of this plot of land. And there went Caleb. Came Caleb's turn, and he looked at Joshua, and he said, Joshua, I remember. He said, here I was in my 40s, said, here I am now. I'm 85 years old now. But he said, you know what? God has kept me, and I'm as strong as I was back then. He said, give me this mountain. Oh, he pointed to that great big mountain. He pointed to that place that was considered the hardest that you could have taken. It was we might say, the biggest and the baddest. It just was impossible. But he said, I just want everybody to know God is able. He has kept me strong for such a time as this. Give me this mountain. Maybe somebody else might have said, you know, you're getting older. Why don't you just stay down here, right here. Go get you a good place. He said, I know there's good places here. But he said, I'm thinking about God. I want to show how great my God is. He's able. He was able back then, and he still is. I've just got to do it. Give me a chance at it. Perhaps God will help me. I believe he will. He got that. Give me this mountain. He didn't settle for anything less. He wanted the best. You know what, Chesley? God honored his faith. Oh, you know something? I want to be like Caleb. Do you want to be like Caleb? What about you kids? What about you adults? You want to be like Caleb? It's a good question. Do we want to be like Caleb, or are we going to be a coward? Those people never enjoyed the greatness of God. Oh, but Caleb realized his dream. It was a reality now because he was faithful. Chesley, the Bible said about him, he wholly followed the Lord. And what does that mean? With all of his heart, all of his mind. That's what consumed his thoughts day in and day out. One day, every step he took, he'd say, you're getting closer, getting close. That's what he said. We're getting closer. We're getting closer to that place again when we get to go. That's where I'm going. He didn't give up, give in, or give out. Oh, Chesley, what a wonderful example for us that we can wholly follow the Lord. Not one day we love the Lord, one day we don't. One day we obey him, one day we do what we want to do. He wholly followed the Lord. And I think he had a smile. I think he had a smile. I think he was happy all the time, thinking about what he was going to do. And then when he got there, oh, how good it was. He probably was thinking, oh, it's better than I thought. It's such better than he thought. What a victory, what a joy, because he was faithful. Just we find this scripture in Joshua chapter 14 and verse 12. I just put a little bit of it, give me this mountain. But there was more to that scripture. If you want to take the time to read that, he knew that God was going to bless him. Chesley, God does bless us and help us. And one thing he blesses us with is the times that we get to rest. What's it got to do with me? Well, it's time for you to go to bed because, we need to be getting around for church tonight. I thought you wasn't having church. Well, Chesley, we are having virtual church. And what's a virtual church? Just like this, we see Chesley, the congregation won't be there because did they give us on God? No, they didn't give up on God. But because of this stuff called COVID-19, we have some people that have this, and so we're just being very cautious about it. And so people are, they're going to quit serving God? No, Chesley, they're not going to quit serving God now. We're going to go down to the church, and we're going to set up this like we have right now with our with the tablet there, and we're going to have a church service tonight as far as what we call virtually here on Facebook Live. And you're going to be praying? We're going to be praying. We're going to have anybody that wants to come in and pray. But right now you need to go to bed. You know what? I have another song. Chesley, we don't have time for another song. But what we do have time to do is put you to bed. So we're so thankful to have everybody here today. And you can come back and see me next Sunday afternoon. Now, we're posting this on Wholesome Communication, which is one of our Facebook pages. And we're going to share this over to the Elgin First Assembly of God page. So I better go over to the computer and get that done pretty quick. But I got to get you to bed before I can do that. All right, we love you, appreciate you. We'll see you next time. Now let me reach across here, Chesley, and punch the button, okay? I'm not the button. I know you're not the button, but I have to put you down. All right, and there he went with a thud.